Welcome back, one and all, to the No Trade Clause podcast. I am joined by Ali Shafiq, fellow contributor of the NTC podcast, and we are welcomed today by special guest Ronnie Taylor, coach, trainer, founder of the Taylor Sports Group. This man is doing some great things, working out some incredible athletes on the regular. So, Ronnie, we want to just thank you for taking the time this afternoon to join us on this podcast, and we're really looking forward to having a discussion here with you about kind of what you do on a daily basis in your process of working out these guys.
No, for sure. Thank you guys for having me.
100%. So we're going to jump right into the action here today, live from the Thomas & Mack Center. We have just a few questions maybe we want to ask you, and here at No Trade Clause, one of the things we like to do is basically get our guest origin story, kind of how you got started in your field. You know, you are a trainer. You're constantly working out with guys in the gym and trying to get them better just one day at a time. So for you personally, how did you get into this field, and what really kind of sparked your interest, your passion for being a trainer, working out guys, just being in the gym constantly, getting guys' games better?
Just a brief rundown. I'm originally from North Carolina, from Raleigh. Me, John Wall, P.J. Tucker, T.J. Warren. It's a slew of us. We all from the same little neighborhood, So as ironic as it sounds, like it just kind of all tied in together. But I went to UNC Greensboro, played there. After that, I played 13 years in Europe. And then when I decided to retire, I started a training company in Miami. For me, I'm just a basketball savant. Like, I love the game. I fall in love with it time and time again. And so for me, my passion really grew for the game, just being able to help guys. For me, it's a little bit selfish, but just being able to help guys, just knowing that I had a little bit part of their journey, when they're being successful, and even when they're not so successful, just being that person that they would have needed or that I would have needed coming up. It's just big for me, just always paying it forward. And, the game has been so good to me, like it's only right that I give back to the game. And so I give back and give it my time, my effort, and just pouring into the players, So, and it also helps keep me close to the game. So, like, that little player in me, when I retired as a player, just working with the guys now helps keep me close to the game.
Absolutely.
That's dope.
So what is a trainer's relationship with their team's respective players' development staff? Is there even a relationship at all? And if so, how does a plan for that player's development come together?
Well, it's some synergy there. A lot of times we talk back and forth. For me, like, I don't want to interfere with what they have going on. I only want to kind of add to it, and kind of speak the same, have that same voice going for them, but, obviously coming from a different person. So a lot of times, we talk about what the goals would be. For me, like, I'm super competitive, so one of the first things that I do before I work with any players, I ask them, like, what do they want to get out of this? Because, like, I don't like to put certain things on players without them wanting that, So, for me, I like to ask, what do you want to get out of this, so I know how to push you, so I know what type of work we're going to be doing, because sometimes guys are just happy to be in the league. Some guys want to be most improved. Some guys want to be MVP. So for me, it's just big on, like, just having an understanding of being on the same page, so I know how we should work,
Yeah, absolutely.
Ronnie, everybody wants to be as great as they can. They want to be the best version of themselves. But it's clear that not everybody can be that superstar and just be on the ball constantly and get all the shots. So just curious on how you manage the expectations that players have going into the next season. They want to be great. You want to expand their bag, so to speak. But there's only so much they can do on a team within that system that you talked about, working with the coaches and everything. So how do you kind of balance getting these guys better every day, but at the same time making sure that those expectations are realistic, their goals are realistic, and just keeping them kind of on the straight and narrow when it comes to how they should expand their games and how that might incorporate into their team's game that following season?
For me, I'm a dad, so I look at it almost like how you have to trick your kids into eating their vegetables. So for me, when I work with the players, I like to give them a little bit of leeway to work on what their game is or what they feel like their game is, but then we also come back and polish on what gets us paid. So it's kind of like a happy medium, that, okay, cool, we're going to let you experience and work on some new things, but, okay, let's get back to what's got us here, what's going to keep getting us paid and stuff, So, trying not to lock a player in and box them in and say, hey, you got to be this type of player. So it's like, all right, let's work on some things to expand your game, but we can't forget about, why we're here and what got us here.
Right.
How do you decide what workouts and drills you're going to put a player through? Obviously that's dependent on position and skill set, but we are seeing that evolve as the league evolves and basketball evolves overall. So do you cater to them in what the player needs to learn, or what type of playing style they have, or how does that process go?
Yeah, like I said earlier in the interview, I'll ask a guy like, what's
Yeah.
their goals?
Yeah.
What do you want to get out of this? And then depending on what their answer is, I'll go back and I'll do my research. I work with one of you guys' staff, Ali. He helps me out a lot. We'll crunch some numbers, to kind of see, where you are in certain areas, so we know how to build. Obviously we're going to always polish what we do well, and the things that we don't do so well, then that'll be the focal point, So if it's finishes at the basket or if it's our three-point shot, it just really depends on the player and what's going on. For me, I'm always trying to control the narrative and whatever, especially when I'm going through pre-draft or anything like that, whatever the knock may be on a player, like I want to prove it wrong. So I try to put the player in situations where they can show that, hey, we've learned, we've heard what was out there that we needed to work on and we worked on it and we improved on it, So, I think that's a key factor, too, also when I work with the guys and, like, kind of helping them with their draft status, not to say that it's all me, but it's just certain ways that we work and certain strategy that we put out there, that kind of it's been beneficial the last couple of years. Every guy's kind of went higher than, what they were supposed to before they came. But it's a strategy behind it,
Absolutely.
Feel that. Ronnie, you were just speaking a few minutes ago about your competitive drive and the fact that, you're retired as a player yourself, but you still want to be involved. And that's a big reason why you got into this field, is because you want to stay close to the game. You want to be involved as possible, even though your playing days are over for you personally. But I'm sure that when it comes to training these guys, working them out, you yourself have to be on the top of your game. If you come in not eating right, or you come in and not prime shape, you can't help these guys get better. I'm
Right,
sure there's a certain element of it where you have to set the example for these guys in terms of working hard, keeping yourself in shape, just being ready to go at all times. Do you have a specific training regimen that you yourself focus on in between workouts? Do you have a diet that you follow? Just a workout regimen. How does it look for you personally before you even get to the point of working these guys out? How do you keep yourself fit and in prime position to make sure these guys are getting better whenever you're working out with them?
Again, like I'm a basketball guy, so Ali will tell you I'm always in the gym talking my crap. I'm always challenging guys to play and stuff like that. So for me, like I said, just being active. Like I'm super active. Like every day, like I'm in the gym, I'm constantly moving. Like in the workouts, I'm big on examples and demonstrations. So everything that I tell them and I talk to them about, I show them. So whether it's footwork, whether it's we working on a jumper, or if it's a particular move we working on, like I'm very big on examples. So like I think that's another thing that's kind of helped me out in the industry, just being able to do everything that I'm putting the players through, and I think I get a lot of respect for that.
Love it. Social media has played a ton of, has a ton of power in today's world, and when it comes to expanding your reach and finding like-minded people, how do you balance your marketing priorities and expanding your, client list while, developing online content, spreading the word about what you offer, via word of mouth?
To be honest with you, my social media is decent.
Yeah.
It could be better. I don't really. If I didn't have to do social media, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I literally do it because I have to.
Yeah.
And it also shows people. A lot of people follow. I get a lot of business off of that too. But like right now, it's a lot more referrals. Like one player tell another player, or agencies and stuff like that to send guys to me. Over the last few years, I've helped. Get guys back into the league, just with the work. I've been with Tyreek Evans, I've been with Beasley, I was with John Wall, who just signed with the Clippers and stuff like that. I got Dennis Smith and stuff like that. So I get a lot of those guys just trying to figure it out. And the thing is, like a lot of guys, like a lot of people would turn their back on some of these guys. For me, like I'm a real basketball guy. I would have hated for somebody to turn their back on me. So regardless of who the player is, like I'm gonna stick by you, and we're gonna work through this thing, and we're gonna put a plan in place, to kind of help, get you back there. For me, I'm gonna do as much as I can and use all my resources, to just do my part. After that, we gotta have a little luck, some prayers and everything. But I'm big on that type of stuff. So to get back to your question about the social media, it's cool.
Yeah.
I could be better. It's just my days are long, man.
I feel you.
My
I feel
days
you.
are long.
I
So
feel
by the
you.
time I get home, I don't really want to cut up video and stuff like that. But like I said, I almost have to. So.
Yeah.
Feel that. It's just such a big part of our culture today. So we were just curious of how that works for you, and how you use that, how you leverage that to gain people. It sounds like it's something you do. It's not one of your like huge passions necessarily,
Right.
but you tap into it because it can help you kind of get the reach out there. Because word of mouth is great, and the referrals, like you said, are a big part of it. But at the same time, I think there's only so far you can go just by word of mouth. Social media, you can grab tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people, depending on the content you put out there. Do you do this like yourself, or do you have somebody that kind of handles that for you when it comes to social media?
A little bit of both. I mean, I have so much content on my phone that people will be like, "Yo, you're crazy for not posting this stuff." But honestly, like, out of respect for the player, like, sometimes they don't want a camera always in their face.
Yeah.
So just
Understandable.
kind of understanding that. And two, a lot of times the stuff that I post, it's a reason that I posted it. For example, John Wall, a lot of people needed to see him, see what we got going on. So I will post him. Or Desmond Bain, like, he's the best. I was telling everybody, he's the best shooter in the draft. So I needed to post him, Or Beasley, it's kind of kept his career alive. Like, even though people don't see, they see him in the gym working out with me. So it's like, I try to keep that out of sight, out of mind situation, out of the situation, just because it's just like sometimes these guys need that, So I rarely just post just to post. Every now and then I will, but most of the time I'm posting for a reason.
Yeah.
Dennis Smith right now, I'm posting because I need teams to see that he's working, or whatever guy that I may be working with at the time. Like, I'm posting so people can see they're working. A lot of times people are posting for the look or whatever may come with it. Like, I'm posting because these guys need that. Because otherwise, nobody knows what they're doing.
Right.
So.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. It seems like you have a certain direction that you follow when you're posting, and I like that you're very intentional about what you post and why you do it. So that's very respectable. And even though it's not something you love, as you said, that's really cool that you tap into it. And you're just trying to use every method possible in order to kind of expand your base and people that
Yeah,
you
I
train.
mean, I would love to be, have a bigger presence on social media, and I guess if I focused a little bit more, but honestly, like, I love the integrity of the game. I was a player. I get it, So, like I said, people don't always want a camera in their face, and then sometimes it can kind of get a little watered down and gimmicky, And then on top of that, sometimes guys just don't want other people to know what they're working on. So It's just a particular situation, Like, if I'm working with a Donovan Mitchell, we not really posting because he don't want nobody to know. Or if I'm working with a Bam, other players, like, we got to put that content out there, So, it's a little give or take, with the social media for me.
For sure. Ronnie, those are some great points, man. I love that you were so open to kind of sharing some of your insights on the field, and I'm sure that's something that a lot of people are interested in. And I think it's something that should be covered more in the media space, and just kind of dissecting how you guys operate on a day-to-day basis. But we really appreciate your time this afternoon. We'll let you go. We're sure you're a busy man. You got camps to conduct. You got work to do. So we'll let you get back on your grind, man. But thanks so much again for taking the time to join us.
I appreciate you guys.
We had a
for
great time
having
with you, man. And best of luck in your future endeavors, man.
Thank you, man. You guys keep up the great work, man.
Thank you.
We need everything that you guys are putting out there. I love it.
Appreciate that,
it, man.
man.
Thank
you.
So for everybody tuning in, we're signing out in another podcast, but we have another few coming at you live from here in Vegas at our studio. Be sure to check out NoTradeClause.com as well as our YouTube page. We have a bunch of content going up all week long, and we hope to see you guys here on the next installment of our podcast. Keep it locked on our website, and we'll continue to work as hard as we can to bring you quality guests such as Ronnie and other great content over on our site and our social media. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you in the next installment.